Right. I see where they have. It would look like it was some brick. No, here comes. Yes. Well, I was there. That's right. We from the state and it was like the way so.
Who's here from Main Street? Oh.
No, sir.
It is 6:03.
Yeah. All right. Mine won't either. That's some sort of new security thing. Maybe, I don't know, but I can't get my package down either.
Minute and a half.
I know, I'm flying blind. Take a job with the federal government. Good, playing them. Make you with me.
Okay.
Last thing you want to do is make me anything that's IT related.
What are you doing?
Putting the audio. Wow. Good evening. I, Fred Hashimoto, Mayor of Corrales. I'd like to call this regular council meeting to order on July 23rd, 2026. Would you please turn yourselves on silent or off and stand and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our governing body president, Councilor Miera.
Present.
Councilor Woolman.
Here.
Councilor Knight.
Here.
Councilor Brown.
Here.
Councilor Burkett.
Here.
And Councilor Murray.
Here.
All here. May I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Next, we have appointments. We have 4 appointments. Would council want to do them as a group or one by one?
One by one.
Okay. The first appointee is Larry Acevedo for Planning and Zoning. Larry, please take the podium and council, if you have any questions for Larry, please ask him.
Can you hear me?
You can introduce yourself.
Can I ask a quick question, Mayor?
Yes.
How are you, sir? Thank you for volunteering. I just wanted to get some clarity on one of your comments was you wanted to make sure that things comply with the comprehensive plan and just kind of get some understanding on how you define that.
Well, complying with the comprehensive plan with relationship to the ordinances that's supported, basically. So the function of the commission is to evaluate changes in land use or whatever is coming before the group, and the group should take the applicable ordinances and make a decision based on that. The ordinances in principle support the comprehensive plan, but there's nothing in the comprehensive plan that says thou shalt do this. Probably should have said, follow the ordinances, would have been a little better wording.
Yeah, because I'm concerned about the ordinances that are at odds with the comprehensive plan. Like the comprehensive plan suggests casitas, it suggests cluster housing. And obviously our ordinances don't support those right now. So how would you handle ordinances that are at odds with the comprehensive plan?
Well, the way I see the commission is that we must use the ordinance to evaluate, make decisions. If there is a conflict, you 6 and the mayor make a decision on fixing whatever needs to be fixed, whether the ordinance needs to be changed or comprehensive plan needs to be changed. So basically it's the ordinances that are the rules that we have to follow.
Councilor Murray?
Thank you, Mayor. So as a member of the P&Z Commission and what you have just said, I agree with. I think as you looked at these ordinances, and the comprehensive plan, it's up to the Planning and Zoning Commission to make recommendations and then send them up to us. And I think I would propose that you be a proactive member or one, make those suggestions and see where the Planning and Zoning Commission comes with those recommendations, but don't let it be stagnant. Things are changing. So
Right. I agree. Last week, I attended, even though I wasn't a member yet, I attended the training that was held here for the commission. And that subject came up about the commission should bring forward any potential issues and things like that. It was a little unclear whether a decision wasn't made whether the 7 members should vote and then bring it forward to the council or individuals could. I'd prefer that the whole group would,
well,
at least.
when I was on Planning and Zoning, it was a vote by the commission, and the chair would then write the recommendation up and then send it up for approval.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's something that it needs to be in agreement. Your commission needs to be in agreement with.
I agree.
Counselor Knight?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I was going to ask you some questions, kind of what Zach was going to ask you. Have you been on any other boards and commissions in Corrales?
I was on the water board, oh boy, 20 years ago, maybe, something like that. Long time ago. I served at that board for about a year and contributed, evaluating uses. We talked about things like lining the ditches with concrete, the pluses and minuses for that, how much water elm trees took and things like that. And we had a lot of issues around that. I was on that for approximately about a year or something like that. Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry you missed the last meeting because Lori kind of explained what P and Z does and what is her job to do to help you all as commissioners. So I'm sure you could go to her at any time and she'd help you out if you have any questions.
Yes, I had a good meeting with Lori a couple of months ago when I first applied, and she walked me through what she does. And she does a lot of work, by the way, up front to minimize, oh, we don't have this, you need to come back and do this again. She seems to do a really good job of making sure applicants have all the necessary documentation and everything in place so that the commission can, in principle, make a decision, in one meeting and not have to postpone things like that. I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? Okay, may I have Councilor Murray?
Move to approve Larry Azevedo for commissioner.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Congratulations, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Michelle Minutes for Bosque Advisory Commission. Good evening, Michelle. Do any councilors have questions for Michelle? Pretty quiet.
Just a comment. I appreciate the fact that you're volunteering to patrol the Bosque right off the bat. So we're going to take you up on that.
I've already done that a
You get-
couple times.
very nice. Yeah, good.
May I have a motion then to approve Michelle?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you.
The next is Jeff Radford for Bikes and Pedestrians Advisory Commission. Good evening, Jeff.
Folks.
Any questions for Jeff? Councilor Murray.
Thank you. Jeff, here's your chance. Get on your soapbox.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I said, here's your chance for you to get on your soapbox and expand on what you think about what needs to be done with pedestrian bicycles.
Yeah, okay. I would like to say that I think that I will have a useful function on the commission going forward because I'm the only person I know of who has ever been run over by a bicycle.
Wow.
Also been run over by a bus, but not in Corrales.
Counselor Knight.
You. I'm glad you're gonna be on the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee again. I was on my bike the other day up by the Intel Trail, and I saw that somebody put in some new straw bales to help with the drainage. And I was really impressed with that because, you know, a couple months ago, I was up there and like, oh man, these old straw bales aren't gonna hold if there's a downpour. Do you know who put those in there? Was it the county?
You know,
or
I
Rio
think
Rancho?
that was the second time that I know of that they had put straw bales in there. And I'm pretty sure it was Intel that did it both times. Well, the first time, but I don't know,
Okay,
probably.
it was nice to see. The
Mm.
trail is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
good for Intel. Cool. Counselor Miera.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Jeff, for coming forward as you have. I was reading what you want to accomplish during your term, and you said that you wanted to specifically by removing utility poles that come close to driving lanes. In your quick 10-second argument, what would you propose, and what do you think you have to do to get to that point?
I think that what the first step is for you guys to decide you're gonna do it. In other words, when it has come up in the past, the issue was always PNM is gonna charge so much, so we can't do it. I say that's not an adequate response on your part. You need to figure out how to do it. You need to start setting the money aside to do it, just so that you can have the match for do it. Yes, it's expensive, but that's not the reason to not do it.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Jeff?
I move we accept Jeff as a reappointment to the Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Commission.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those nay. Congratulations, Jeff, again. Thank you. Next, Dayton Voorhees, again for the reappointment for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. Is Dayton here? I don't see him.
Mayor.
Yes.
So I attend their meetings, and Dayton's been a very active member of that commission. He's also been the chair for several years. I don't think there's anything that's really, I want to say, it's going to imperil his nomination, but I think he's been very active, still is very active, and will do the commission a good job if we do go ahead and reappoint.
You want to make a motion then? And
I move to reappoint Dayton Voorhees to the Bicycle Pedestrian Commission.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those nay. Dayton is approved. Thank you. Reports, administration, Melanie.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'd like to start off tonight with just an update on Easy Fiber. I'm sure most of you have heard we had some issues earlier in the week and last week with some utilities being hit by the contractors. In most cases, it's an unmarked utility that was hit. And in one case, a gas line the gas line itself had been vacated, but still had gas running through it. So it was not marked, and that's why the contractor hit it. So not that it's a good thing that they're hitting utilities, but there is a reason. So on Friday, when all of that happened, Steve Leskew, our public works director, did shut down their work, said they could not work over the weekend and could not proceed until they had a meeting with the village. So we had that meeting on Monday, and they did go over procedures and making sure that things are getting marked. And they had some suggestions from, was it 811, Steve? That comes out and marks the utilities. So we're hoping that things will go a little smoother from here on out. But I do want you to know that we are very proactive and trying to address things to keep this from happening.
I had a conversation with someone this morning. They were working in his area. It's down by Ruffles Lane and Loma Larga. Speeding on the road, trash being thrown. Who do they report that to? They call
They can call the office. They can also, there's on the website, there's information for contacting Easy Fiber directly. And Easy Fiber does want to know about these kinds of things. Here in a few minutes, I'm going to do a little tutorial on our brand new website. So I'll show you where that information lives too. Also, we have big news. We are moving from a .org email domain to a .gov finally. So that will take place starting August 3rd. It will affect all the counselors' emails as well. So your email will change from corrales-nm.org to corrales-nm.gov. You won't have to do anything. Your .org will still work if somebody emails you through that. And we're going to keep that live for at least the next year, if not longer, to make sure that updates get made to everybody we need to update. But I'm hoping that this will help with some of the spoofing emails that go out. We get a lot of people getting emails that claim they're from P&Z saying that they owe $5,000 for a permit because they had an application before P&Z. I know somebody from, I believe it was the Harvest Festival, got an email like that saying that they owed $5,000 for their event permit for the Harvest Festival. And it was somebody trying to get $5,000. So we're hoping that the .gov will help that. We will be moving the website to a .gov as well, but not until January. I didn't want to make too many changes to the website all at once and, really make a mess of things. So that will be happening January 1st.
Counselor Knight?
So will the app on our phone be different?
Nope, you won't even have to do anything. So I've been the test guinea pig for the last week. And they changed over my email. I have not had to do anything. The only thing I did was log out of my email and log back in on the computer. The phone, I haven't had to do anything. So everything just is automatically changing over. It's sending, when I send out an email, it's showing that .gov extension already. So yeah. And if you have any problems, you can contact Systems MD or give me a call and I'll reach out to them and have them get in touch with you. But so far it's been a very seamless process. So hopefully nobody will have any issues.
Counselor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With regards to number 7, your APS update for Corrales.
Oh, yes, I got.
You probably got that memo.
Yes, that was good.
You do your memo.
That was going to be my next thing, actually. So just today, I finally got an email back from APS. They did have some issues with some unforeseen conditions, including a water line and a leach field that were discovered in the footprint of where the new classroom building is going to be. So it has delayed construction. So now their estimated completion date is March 31st of 2028. So, 28. And then they said they are 85% complete on the new dining hall and 35% complete on the new 2-story classroom building. And the other 2 buildings have no completion, 0 completion. So
What was the original completion date, do you know?
I don't remember. I'll have to go back and look. I want it sometime before that. I think it only set it back by a few weeks, but I want to say it was like December of 27 or January of 28 was their original or their last estimated completion date, but I'll look for
And
it.
they still won't tell us if we can use their cafeteria until they complete the buildings.
Nope, that's a totally different group of people. So we have to, these are just the construction people. Then we have to reach out to their administration that does the, and I'm hoping that maybe the new principal will be able to work with us on that as well. So once school's up and running and the new principal has a few weeks under their belt, we'll reach out and see what we can do.
Invite the new principal.
Yes,
Meeting.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
On that point, for me?
Yeah.
The reason I knew it, because we all got that memo.
Yeah.
I know the people that are listening probably needed to hear that information. And for what, that being said, I knew about it when working with the principal, only because what he mentioned, the principal is very easy to work with. In fact, he's already meeting with some people from the community.
Oh, good.
Different roles that they play, but there was a meeting this morning talking about agricultural purposes and the new school, and was there and was able to greet everyone. And so we're making a lot of progress meeting with him, and more meetings are already scheduled.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question, Melanie.
Oh, speaking to our microphones? Yes. Okay.
Melanie, I have a
Yes.
question. Sixth graders, when are they starting?
They already have
Okay,
started.
right.
They already, all grades are already there. So they are already fully K through 8.
Seventh there.
Seventh and eighth grade are already there.
They're doing 7 through 8 or K through 8 with
Yes.
K through 5 facility.
Mhm.
Yeah. I saw.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, real fast.
I have two questions.
Yes.
Sorry. So the first one, on the new website, I have not found a place to find the agenda packet.
I'm going to show you.
Okay. 'Cause I mean, and it's probably just muscle memory, but I feel like it's harder to navigate than the
Yes,
other one was.
I feel like it's easier once you know where it is.
Okay.
But yes, it's not, it's because of where we had it before, your brain thinks I have to go up to a menu, but I'll show you here in just a second.
Okay. Second question, traffic control on private roads.
Yes,
So we cannot enforce speed limits on private roads.
correct.
We can enforce every other law. on
We
private-
can
correct?
enforce DUI.
Okay.
We can enforce reckless driving, a hit and run, and leaving the scene of an accident. But we can't do speeding.
Trespassing, if there's a coyote. I mean, it seems to me that all of these things, if we're looking, I mean, these are all services we're doing to someone on private land, but technically those are our job.
Chief actually has a really good analogy for us.
Okay.
Council McKay, Mayor, Council. So yeah, as far as traffic goes, the only traffic violations we're allowed to enforce on private property, which includes private roads, are, like the administrator said, DUI, reckless, and the leaving the scene of an accident, immediate notice of accident type of violations. For parking violations, we can enforce handicap violations and fire hydrant violations if the hydrants belong to the municipality. As far as all the other crimes go, the traffic laws don't apply. So yes, we do enforce, trespassing, assault, battery, things that occur on private property, of course. And as far as, requests for traffic services on private property, it's, somewhat akin to, the local store, want our officers to work security there. On regular time, of course, they could always contract the police department for overtime details. We do have a policy in place for that, and some businesses do it, but for traffic, we're very limited.
Okay. Just to expand that to another conversation we're in the midst of having. So we cannot enforce parking on private roads.
No, sir, unless it's a handicap violation. If
Interesting.
it's
Okay.
accessible to the public, though, that really, the general public. So the Frontier Market, for example, it's private property, but they have handicap parking spots. If we get a call or the officer observes it independently, they can issue a citation for the handicap parking violation. Anthony gets his dream, and there's a fire hydrant on every corner, and there's one there that's blocked on private property, then we can certainly enforce for blocking up.
But if somebody's doing donuts in the parking lot, we can't do anything about that?
Well, that would probably be considered reckless driving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in my mind, speeding is kind of reckless driving as well.
Yeah. Well, it depends, Counselor. I mean, it would have to be essentially the way the statute is written is a wanton disregard for the safety and so on and so forth, and all the legal verbiage that's in
Awesome.
it. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Murray?
Yeah, so does that apply to home ops then? If a home op has exceeded their capacity in terms of parking and parking winds up on the private road, can't we then ticket?
Or a short-term rental.
Yeah,
That's Councilor Murray, Mayor and Council. That's not under the exceptions for traffic enforcement for our purposes or parking enforcement.
well, I know when I was
For-
young, I was cited for driving in a manner not reasonable and proper.
Wanton disregard?
Well,
Still doing this.
several horses, and they were all under one hood too. So, but would that qualify?
Could you repeat the question?
Well, all right. More or less, I would driving in a manner not reasonable and proper be
Right, well,
considered.
It would have to be, Counselor Mayor, a really egregious violation. I mean, what you're describing could fall under careless driving, which is not one of the exceptions. I mean, it's reckless DUI, I think the same accident, essentially.
Councilor Mira, then Councilor Knight.
Just real quick, but most importantly, all of those which we just spoke about, it has to be observed by the officer for that to come into play, right?
Councilor Mayor and Council, yes, either observed by the officer or the result of the finding of probable cause as following accident investigation. That's what the statute allows for enforcement action.
Thank you.
Councilor Knight?
I was gonna ask you this after the meeting, but as long as you're up there.
Yes, ma'am.
I had somebody call me about the cameras in Corrales. You know, the Rio Rancho has cameras right when you go into Rio Rancho on Meadowlark and then at the end of Corrales Road. They asked me if Corrales is gonna have any type of cameras.
Councilor Nightmare, council, not in the near future. You know, we're aware of the technology that's out there. You know, in this particular case, those are the flop cameras, which are more or less license plate readers, but they go beyond reading the plate and then, you know, sending it
That's
to
where
the
their concern
yeah,
was.
they actually take a photo of the
Right.
vehicle and all of those things.
And do they
there,
do
yeah.
facial recognition
Yeah,
as
no,
well?
that they don't, but yeah, we are not, we were looking into this program a few years back and it's kind of backburnered, you know, we've had other priorities, like especially our staffing, which as of this past Tuesday is at 100%. So yeah, first time in 5 years, so you know, luckily that's off of our plate right now, but with all the issues surrounding the license plate reader cameras throughout the country, it's not just in our area right now, that's sort of backburnered. And if information from a camera from another jurisdiction is needed for a criminal investigation, our detective has the ability to contact their detectives, and he hasn't been told no yet as far as getting information about a vehicle coming into the village or leaving the village at a certain time at a certain location.
Yeah, so we don't have any right now.
No, and not owned or leased by the village of Corrales.
Okay, thank you. I will
Yeah.
call them back.
Yeah,
Let them
okay.
know.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to ask Mandy to let me share my screen here. Okay, so here is our homepage on our website.
With water.
Yes. It's not, I'm not sure where the website got this picture, but definitely an old picture. Yeah. Okay, so the easiest way to find information for our meetings is come to the homepage and you're going to scroll down past the news here to the calendar where it says meetings and events. And if you click on view all events, it'll bring up everything coming up. And what I like about this is right here is our meeting for tonight. You can see where it is, what time it is. You can even click on the Zoom link. If you click on the more details right here, come on. Here is all of the information you need. So here's all of the agenda packet and everything else that we provided for tonight's meeting. And then you can also download the agenda up here on the upper right. So if you click on this, it takes you to the Agenda Center and you can click download and it will download the agenda packet for you. And we
download the agenda, right?
No, we have we're putting it up as the whole agenda packet because we can only put, so far from what we've been able to learn, we can only put one document in the Agenda Center. So we talked about, do we have multiple meetings and have one have the agenda and one have the packet? But since we usually put the agenda at the beginning of the packet anyway, this just gives you all of the information and it downloads it right to your computer. This information does also live in the Agenda Center, which I think a lot of people is probably what they were looking for to begin with. And that's up here under the Government tab. And then you have all of the boards and commissions and all of their agendas. So if you're looking for, say, the Lodgers Tax Board, you can come here and click on theirs and you can see their most recent agendas and minutes here in the entire list of agendas. And again, it's the same kind of thing where you can download it here on the right-hand side.
So I did find it. I just didn't download it because it only said agenda. I
Yeah.
thought it wasn't the packet.
Yeah, so sometimes if there's additional information, it's better to go to that calendar page because we can't put all of that information, at least we haven't figured it out yet. And I was telling the staff today, it's probably my own fault because the last time I sat through a 2-hour training that was basically worthless, I said to myself, God, why can't they just give me a video to watch and I can figure it out myself? Well, that's what they did this time around. When I asked for training, they said, oh no, we have help videos and articles and you can just go in and you can figure it out. So that's what we've been doing on top of, trying to maintain our day-to-day operations is figure out how to do these things. So this same website is used in Rio Rancho, in Taos, in Albuquerque. It's used all over the state. So I'm going to start reaching out to some of their clerks and asking them if they've figured out ways to put multiple things on their website. But we will get there eventually. And then I promised where to find the Easy Fiber information. So if you go here to where it says community, right here is a whole tab that says Easy Fiber construction information. If you click on that, there's a phone number to call. It's a local Albuquerque number. They do promise that it is answered by a real person. It does not go to India or another country, so you should have a live person that's here in Albuquerque or the Albuquerque area. And there's also a document that has their welcome information and all the information you could want to know about Easy Fiber is here. So if you are having issues with Easy Fiber or you want to file a complaint with them, you can use that local phone number. And if you can't get a hold of somebody for some reason, you can certainly call the administration office and leave a message, and we'll forward that on to Easy Fiber for you. Do we have any other questions about the website? Councilor Murray?
Thank you. So I was using your search engine, and one of the things we had on the old website was we were able to restrict the searches to by commissions or committees or the council.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that now with the new one. And unfortunately, when you search on agenda, you're going to get every agenda from every commission or committee and so forth. So I was wondering if we could get that added back in because
I will look.
Yeah, anyway, it's more or less aggravating to get everybody else's and then find out the village is down at the bottom.
Yeah. Well, and they're the different commissions are also on that calendar. If you look here. So the Lodgers Tax Board has a special meeting next Thursday. So if you look here and go to more details, theirs is exactly the same. It's just their information.
So I also was looking at the company that at the bottom of the webpage called Civic Plus. And I noticed it's also used by Albuquerque as well, but they have on their homepage, they have somewhere around in the area of around 13,000 customers, only around 900 employees, which means getting changes done, probably unless you're paying big bucks, you're probably not going to get very many changes. And it's just, you know, when you grow that big and you don't have the backbone or the employees to back it up, I think we're falling through the cracks is what's happening. So, you know, I know we used them previously and we're using them now, but I think in the future, we need to go out bid and see what else is being done.
Okay. The other new thing you can do on the website is you can sign up for alerts. So if you, it's actually here in the middle.
It's the pop-up too. You can do it on, right?
Yeah. Here where it says create an account. If you click on that and create an account, you can go in and subscribe to reminders for council meetings. Anytime we make an update to a council meeting, it'll send you an alert to say council meeting for July 23rd was just updated. And you can do that with lots of different things. You can, I believe you can sign up for like the crime and safety alert. You can sign up for the mayor's message. So that is something new that we didn't previously have.
Can you show one more thing that maybe I just don't know how to work also? If you go to government and then go to mayor and council up at the top,
okay,
and then it lists all of us. And there's hyperlinks on each of our names, which would lead one to believe that you might be able to contact somebody or get contact info, but I can't get those to work. On the bottom, it says that to use the email address on this page. Yeah, I can't figure out a way to actually get to that.
I will go in and add all of I thought I had already done this and I may have done it and forgotten to hit save. Oh, it does do it. It just takes a while. So it did bring it up. When you click on, I just clicked on the mayor's name and it brought up my email program and the mayor's email. But I'll add the actual emails on there too. That's what I had done previously on our website was I had, by each person's name, I had actually typed out the email address so you could copy and paste it if you wanted to. Okay.
Is there any place on the website that actually has a map of Corrales by district? So what streets are in district?
Yes, it is. You're testing my knowledge here. I believe it is under departments, clerk's office, election information. There it is, voting district maps at the very, very bottom. And there is our voting districts
Okay,
map.
yep.
Yeah. And you can actually zoom in on it
Yep.
and find your individual street.
You type that into the search engine and will that pick it up?
Let's see. I haven't tested it, so I don't know for sure. Let's go back to the homepage, so it's not just right there. Yep. There. Takes you right to it.
Cool.
Yeah, so our search function does seem to function slightly better than the last one. There have been a few things where I've typed it in and it's like, got nothing, bro. So that's a little frustrating. So I'm trying to go in and fix that. But I at least have access now to those search engine optimization tools to be able to go onto those pages and put the keywords in so they're searchable.
No, one last question is, all of the previous data that was on the old website is now embedded in the new website. Is that correct?
As far as I can tell, I have spent the last 2.5 months going page by page. I have 2 screens in my office. I have the new site on one, the old site on the other, and I've been going through and comparing. So
Well, I mean, if we were searching for an old agenda,
yes,
or
that
packet, we would find it by doing this.
it should be on there. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if there are no more questions, that is all I have for this evening, Mayor.
Great. Thank you. Any requests for administrator's report in the future? Councilor Wellman.
Yes, Melanie, the clean and lean. The letter from planning and zoning is dated July 10th,
Mhm.
so almost 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And there was indication that they were going to follow up on that and get some pricing.
Mhm.
Do we have anything?
We do. So Dennis reached out to 3 separate companies. He only got a response from one. It seems like a relatively reasonable bid. And so we're just now at the point this week where we're starting to be able to issue purchase orders numbers. So that will be moving forward in the next week or 2.
So we're beyond the time frame that they had to clean up.
Yes. Yeah, we are now moving forward with hiring a company to go in and clean up.
So you've got a quote.
Mhm.
So is there anything that would stop the process from moving forward?
I don't think so at this point. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I just like to make a little statement. Melanie and I recently met with Governor Stuart Paisano of Sandia Pueblo. He actually called a meeting and we talked about ATVs and ATUs and VT. He calls them UTVs. And motorcyclists crossing over the river into Sandia Pueblo land, and wasn't pleased because the river is mostly dry. People do that, and he was worried about those people actually unlocking a gate, in which case cattle would come the other way, which they have in the past. He was concerned about some homelessness in the southern end of the village. We talked about water issues, and it was an amicable decision, amicable type of conversation. He wondered if I would support transferring trusts of some land in the foothills of the Sandias from the Department of the Forestry Department to the Interior Department. And it was mostly, he felt the Forestry Department wasn't doing a very good job in being able to care for that area, to patrol it. The numbers are down, and he was willing to add several people, a handful of people to his police department and pay for whatever it took. And so I'm writing a letter I personally support, and that's just to let you know. But we had a really good discussion. I think he I think water obviously is a big issue for us. And he said, talk to us. He said, I don't want to read about some proposal in the newspaper. I'd rather know about it in person. And so that was helpful. Councilor Murray.
Well, along those lines, I think there was an article in today's paper too about, or yesterday, but they were talking about the transfer of property. And some of the hikers were concerned that the trails might be blocked off up in the mountains and in the foothills. So, I mean, is that part of the discussion or?
Yeah, he said that no existing trails publicly used would be blocked off. And he said he was not going to institute anything that deinstitute anything that was currently existing.
He did say that they had a lot of people going in areas where they aren't supposed to be, parking in areas that they're not supposed to be parking, and traveling through areas that do have artifacts, and they're taking these items. And so they would like to help manage the area to help protect their cultural heritage in the area.
And they have 4 sacred sites in there. And it's a large 10,000 acre parcel. And he showed us pictures of trash and beer cans and people who were having parties there, and fires, actually, campfires off trail. And he was hoping to avoid any dangers from them. So anyway, we had a good meeting, and I think that establishing good relationships with our neighboring municipalities, particularly the tribes, as we go forth with water proposals. The tribes have traditionally sort of been opposed to a lot of water transfers, and so I think that working with them and working with other tribes and municipalities is a proactive way to maybe avoid some of the troubles that other municipalities have had with their water proposals. So anyway, just to let you know. Next item, Councilors Forum. This section is for informational purposes only, not for discussion and debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during the business session.
I think Corleone's forum first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Corleone's Forum. Section is for informational purposes, not for discussion and debate, to inform the governing body of an issue or concern that would not be addressed on the agenda during the business session. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. How many speakers do we have, Mandy?
Just one.
One? One speaker, would you please come up
Evan?
and introduce yourself?
Good evening, councilors and Mr. Mayor. My name is Evan Long, as an introduction, newly elected president of Corrales Main Street. Here tonight just to make a proactive statement on behalf of the board. As I'm sure all of us or most of us noticed, we had a large attendance at the 4th of July parade this year. Going forward, we want to work with Parks and Rec to form a coalition of volunteers to be more proactive with trash cleanup. Whether that's putting more trash cans out, volunteer brigades. So just wanted to make that statement that we're being proactive as we move forward, as I think it's becoming more popular, especially within the village. So thank you.
Congratulations on your new position. Yeah, anybody have any questions? Well, I guess this is Council's Forum, so there's no discussion. Thank you. Next item, Council's Forum. Any councilor would like to speak? Yes, Councilor Burkett.
Appreciate it. So I just I have a quick request, and I think we're planning on doing a follow-up meeting after the Harvest Festival this year to have some conversations with Kiwanis, which we talked about at the last meeting. We've had some suggestions both publicly here and via some letters as far as making the Harvest Festival more agricultural. And I would love some between now and that meeting to have some people send us some suggestions, some tangible stuff that they actually think that they would like to see, so we could really talk to Kiwanis about that and really, instead of talking in generalities and philosophical ideas, that we have some actual tangible stuff that we can say, hey, these are great ideas. These are great ways to get the villagers and agriculture and heritage more involved in the Harvest Festival, versus finding ourselves next June and July having the same conversation and really no measurement on whether we were successful in improving it or not. So just a request of any citizens that are interested in that, any members of Kiwanis that hear this, and as a village, I'd love us to be asking questions on how do we actually do something measurable that we think is better instead of just saying we want to do something better and nobody having any idea what that means.
You think it's a good idea to invite residents to meetings of Kiwanis? Are they open? They're not open meetings.
Not usually, no.
Yeah, Kiwanis.
Doesn't mean we couldn't have one, but usually it's.
Right. Kiwanis used to meet. They met with us monthly for several months, but then that sort of dropped off early this year. And asking for our suggestions, and some were brought up, but then the meetings, Kiwanis ended them, and so we just.
Yeah, they haven't had any updates for us. That's why
Yeah.
they haven't sent a meeting request.
Anyway, I think it's a good idea to, if residents would have thoughts about how to bring the more harvest back in the harvest festivals, to make it, helpful for the farmers. Yes, Councilor Bowman.
Thank you, Mayor. Very quickly, I ran into Marion, our librarian, at the bank the other day, and I had asked whether or not she was interested in getting looping in the main reading room for the hearing impaired. And she indicates that it's now been looped, paid for with county funds. So that's an accomplishment. So just want to pass that along. Thank you.
Any other input from the councilors? Okay, moving right along. Consent agenda. May I have a motion, please, to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Murray.
Mayor, maybe we ought to pull both items off because I do have some questions about the minutes. And since we need to pull that one, I mean, we can go ahead and vote for the resolution if nobody has any questions, but I do have questions about the minutes. So I would request we pull the minutes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bruce say nay. Motion carries. So consent agenda item number 1, approval of minutes from June 23rd, 2006 regular council meeting.
Do you want a motion in a second before we discuss it?
Yeah.
All right, I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Murray.
Thank you, Mayor. So I noticed in the minutes down where some motions and amendments were made. I'm concerned that, let me get down to the items that I have. It's on page 38, I think. Anyway, there were amendments and it just says amendment passed. Does not state the amendment as it was recorded. So I'm concerned that if we just say amendment, proposed and voted on, and this is supposed to be the official record, the video obviously is not the official record. So consequently, we don't have an idea what the amendment was. So that's, that concerns me. And I would like to postpone this into the next meeting to allow the clerk to insert the proper amendment language into where these motions were made, so that we would understand that whenever somebody ever challenged the minutes, then we've got something to fall back on.
Can that recommendation just be taken, Melanie, or do we need a vote on it? Or
So he would need to make a motion. Okay, wait. We have multiple motions open on the floor. We actually still have the motion open to approve the consent agenda because Councilor Murray only pulled item number 1 off, not item number 2. So we really need to go back and approve item number 2, and then we can make the motion to postpone the minutes.
Well, there is a
Approval of the
motion
minutes.
to approve the consent agenda.
Yes, yeah, that's why I'm like, this would be the 3rd open motion, so we need to
Back up.
resolve those open motions before we make another one.
okay, so the motion wasn't to separate them, but to move number 1 off.
Number 1 off, yeah, so we really should go back and approve that item number 2, and then we can come back and address the approval of the minutes.
Okay, so item number 2, approval of resolution 46 or 2647 in support of the Christmas de los Caballos All Equine Parade and Holiday Food and Toy Drive. May I have an motion?
You've already got a motion. You just need to do a roll call vote to approve it.
Okay, any discussion?
Nope, you can't do discussion. He's already made the motion to approve the consent agenda item. He didn't choose to pull this one off. So we just go right to a vote.
Okay. Roll call vote. Councilor Mira.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Bowman.
Aye.
Councilor Knight.
Yes.
Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Councilor Burkett.
Yes.
Councilor Murray.
Yes.
Okay, going back to item number 1. We're on discussion then. Councilor Murray.
Well, I think it behooves that maybe Council Burkett recuses his motion.
I will withdraw my motion.
Okay. And then I would move that we postpone approval of these minutes to the next council meeting so that the clerk can insert the appropriate amendment language.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So item number 1 is postponed until the next meeting. Next item is old business.
Is that new business or is it in fact old business?
Which item?
The only item under old business, yes.
Can we postponed this at a previous meeting because we didn't have the document we thought in time for everyone to previously read that? So I don't know if that qualifies as old business or
It
not.
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
was on a previous agenda and we postponed it due to the fact that it was a very long document. And we didn't think people had appropriate time.
That's very different. Never mind.
I'll second that.
So
Mr.
old
Mayor,
business, number 1.
Mr. Mayor, on that note, before the vote, as we look at that, and I agree with what we're going forward with. Did you have a chance to talk about the fact that we're making changes because this is a brand new ordinance?
The red.
That all
Questions on the
being
red
read?
line?
Although there's another one that's gonna come up like that, but does this have any red that all that we need to worry about? Red meaning new
Not
language.
since 7.6.
Okay, never mind. It's, I just want to make sure that.
There was a later
Yeah.
version.
I beg your pardon. Yeah, I had sent changes in on Monday. Ken told me he had made the changes, but they weren't available to public review. So consequently, I think that it is purposely, we need to postpone this till next time. I've been sending changes in since the first revision came out. And I will tell you, I used artificial intelligence to go through and it found a lot of clerical, grammatical type errors. And I've been sending those in. Ken's been making the changes and he's been reviewing them and so forth. And unfortunately, it doesn't allow the public time to review that or to you guys to review that. So I think we need to post the most recent one for next council meeting. And we need to have our changes in prior to the posting of next council meeting.
Yeah, because we didn't want to keep putting new versions of it on the website because if somebody didn't realize we had made that change and then they're looking at the document 3 changes ago and then they come and they're like, they want to talk about something that's now been removed or changed already or added to. Yeah. So yeah, I would agree. If you're going to make any more changes, we need to have a date that those changes will be posted to the website by.
But let me also I need to ask Ken a question too. On the penalty schedule, I've kind of got the impression that we were limited on how much we could raise or post fines. Is there a limitation to what we can suggest?
Mr. Mayor and Council Murray, no. Well, there is, and it's unless it's except for DUI, it's the maximum is $500 or 90 days in jail, or both. Otherwise, I'm glad we're going to postpone this. The ordinance itself, the new traffic code itself, rather, we didn't make any changes to that. I want to take a moment to thank Councilor Murray because he reads everything. And when you work on a long document like this new traffic code, your eyes cross and you just don't see things after a while. So Councilor Murray's been incredibly helpful, making it a better document, making it more consistent. And I don't know when the last changes to the traffic code itself were made. So I'm happy to postpone the whole thing. But I didn't think till today to actually download the state's penalty assessment schedule. And I think it'd probably be a good idea to circulate that with the proposed penalty assessment schedule for the village. It's not identical as far as the different infractions because it goes by state statute. They are invariably a lot lower than what I proposed. I am just the scrivener in this process. I just want to let you all know, even though the maximum, again, $500, 90 days in jail, that's the maximum. As far as putting numbers next to the infractions in the right-hand column of the penalty assessment schedule is kind of what I came up with. I'm just the scrivener in that process. The judge obviously shouldn't be the one to dictate that, nor should the chief. But they're all up to you. The reason I've made them invariably higher is because let me scroll back just a second. The reason this is a new traffic code, the Municipal League for decades would promulgate the Uniform Traffic Ordinance, send it to all the municipalities that are members of the Municipal League, and municipalities would adopt that with their own changes as they saw fit. They didn't do that for 4 or 5 years. They stopped doing it when they had a change of the guard at the Municipal League. So I think it was in 2025 that Randy Van Vleck, who used to be the general counsel of the Municipal League, and I started working on our own versions of a new traffic code, no longer uniform, because the league was not promulgating it anymore. Last year, they did come up with changes to their uniform traffic ordinance. However, the person they gave it to didn't seem to comprehend the purpose of ordinances generally and the uniform traffic ordinance in particular. The first section I looked at said violation of this section is a 4th-degree felony. Well, municipalities cannot enact felonies. It's that $500 and or 90 days in jail. 4th-degree felony is 18 months in jail. So it's beyond the competence of a municipality to do that. Later on, as I looked through the new uniform traffic ordinance, it has several pages on how you apply for a driver's license. That the person at the league put that in because the uniform traffic ordinance is supposed to mirror Chapter 66, which are the traffic laws. And yes, Chapter 66 has lengthy provisions about how you apply for a driver's license. Municipalities don't do that, however. So they just took things that were in Chapter 66 that they didn't see in the Uniform Traffic Ordinance and just put them in there. So for example, the felony provision that I mentioned, I emailed the person at the league with whom I've worked. I said, nice to, I hope you're well. By the way, municipalities can't enact felonies, and gave her the citation of the statute that I mentioned, the $500, 90 days in jail. She said, well, I took that right out of the statute. I emailed back saying, yeah, that's the problem. State can enact felonies, municipalities can't. Never heard back. So again, this was sort of a new product. It's no longer uniform, so I've just called it the Corrales Revised Traffic Code.
just by way of background, but the penalty assessment schedule that the league has, I'll forward that, circulate that as well. That has not been updated in decades, in at least 20 years. There are several fines on the state level that are $25. The Uniform Traffic Ordinance has several that are $10. Now, $10 to $25, that's an impulse purchase at Walmart. It's not a deterrent to motorists. And I'm not sure that it even, I doubt it covers the time and trouble of the police officer in making the stop and writing the ticket, et cetera. So mine are uniformly higher, but when I say mine, that's my suggestion. Some I've just, I didn't give it a lot of thought, knowing that they're all going to be up to you. Do you think they're comparable to either Los Ranchos or Rio Rancho? Rio Rancho just adopts the Uniform Traffic Ordinance, last I knew. Okay. And again, that penalty assessment schedule has not been updated in, I think, at least 20 years. Okay.
Councilor Burkett.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So with this and knowing that we're going to potentially postpone it, I mean, I have two questions. What is the best mechanism for us sending you our thoughts and or things we'd like to see changed? Do we want to discuss those now publicly as a laundry list, but there may be more between now and the final publication? Would you prefer us send you a list of the specific section and what changes or what questions we have? And then we have a deadline that all of us have to get those in by, and then whatever version that looks like, that's what we evaluate at the next meeting. And then I guess a third question, if two of us send you an email that have counter arguments on the same point, do you just put both of them in and we discuss them? And those are things that are absolutely mandatory discussion points at the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Burkett, that's a good question. I have been because to date, I think the mayor has also suggested an important change about motorized vehicles in the Bosque, the e-bikes and scooters, hoverboards, things like that, which came from an MRGCD resolution and Albuquerque's ordinance. And otherwise, Council Murray has been driving the changes. And I've just been where when he suggested changes, I've either made them or said, or emailed him back saying, no, this is why, or this is already there or whatever. But like I said, he's been incredibly helpful in bringing up the snuff. So we actually did at one point have a deadline to suggest changes, and that came and went, which is fine with me. I think it's a better document.
Or do we want to discuss points now and put them in the open instead of having?
I have 2 pages myself, and I don't know how much everyone else has, and I'm happy to bring them all up. But if everyone else also has 2 pages, I mean, it'll be interesting, but it won't be short.
Maybe you have a work study session on this, that you have 2 pages, other people have 2 pages, we have further agenda items and an audience. Maybe we ought to have a work study session on trying to work out what the proposed changes are between governing body members, and then come up with a revised document that is up for publishing at the next meeting, at a meeting. So why don't we convene a work study session on, people can bring up their proposed changes and we can discuss them.
Okay. In the meantime, would you like those proposed changes in an email, just so some of them you can say, hey, that's silly, and then I don't worry about bringing it up in public and looking silly in public?
Yeah, I don't mind Councilor Burkett corresponding with any counselor. I just want to be sensitive of the Open Meetings Act, make sure that we don't end up somehow with a rolling quorum.
Right.
Yes, Councilor Murray.
So if we do have a work study, how do we now work the resolution as we have now said we're going to postpone to the next meeting? Do we just say, maybe I rescind my postponement and we just say to date certain? maybe in September or,
Yeah.
I mean, that gives us a month. And so, rather than try to squeeze it in for the next meeting, because it's, I mean, yeah, we've got a couple of weeks, but does everybody's schedule even come up, even allow for a work study?
Yeah, the document's pretty long and, there are probably a fair number of issues that need to be discussed where, we might not agree on easily. And so, yeah, to not set a date for the publishing, it might be a good idea. But just a work study session date up that we all can attend. And after the work study session, hopefully we won't need a second work study session. But we can have a proposed revised, visual version to publish next time.
Then, Mayor, I would amend my proposal to postpone to date certain, which would be September 8th, our first council meeting in September. That gives us a month. Is that enough time?
Yeah, we can go for it. I think, we can maybe hold a work study session in a couple of weeks, next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so we only have one council meeting scheduled for August on the 18th. So we could try for either the 4th or the 11th of August, or I think going to the 25th might not give us enough time to get updates out. And then, it is a long document. We want to give the public as much time as possible to view that document before that September meeting. So I don't know how council feels about those dates.
Councilor Mira?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that brings up the point that I was talking prior to this discussion, that I talked with Bandy about in red. And going along with what is easiest to read, even though we may have a work session, I think people need to know that whatever we have, and I'm referring back to the way we do it in the legislature, where you have it redlined, or else on the side it's red, so we can be able to compare and contrast. We raised it from $40 and maybe it was 20, now it's 40 or 80, or we'd have it. It's easier for people to understand what it is that we're attempting to do, not going to do, because that doesn't happen until we have the vote. So, but I read through that, and it's really hard to get 147 pages, put it in there, but I'm trying to remember what was the legislature thinking about doing at that particular time. But it's easy when you can do that. That's why I asked her if it was possible to do that red lining, or at least move over to the side, all the red, what it is that we're dealing with on the right-hand side in the text.
Mr. Mayor and Councilor, I didn't do that because the uniform traffic ordinance has not been changed in 6 years.
Right, that makes sense.
So I, rather than, because there were a lot of changes, so yeah, I mean, I'm happy to redline anything from here forward. The penalty assessment schedule, I think virtually every fine has been changed. But again, they're just my placekeepers. I'm the last person who should be deciding that.
Okay.
Except that I may be the next person pulled over who has to pay that.
Yeah, but if people start redlining and then you get redlining back and forth, does that constitute an issue of a violation of, rolling quorum type of thing? And I would think it almost does when somebody comments and somebody comments on their comment.
Yeah, I would think everybody should send the changes to Ken. Ken makes a master document. And I think your suggestion to redline any further changes from here, because the public has been presented with a version that we are now changing. So they can actually see this is the last proposed version. This is what we're proposing to change.
And all the red lines probably shouldn't be presented to us until our work study session, because otherwise, we'll have red lines on blue lines and purple lines and everything else. And it's a rolling quorum issue too.
Mr. Mayor, we'll want to post it prior to the work study so the public can see the proposed changes up to to that time.
So do you want to set a date now for the work study session to at least have timeline?
Be a good idea.
So we only have that one meeting in August, so we want to have the work study what would be the first meeting in August? Does that sound right? And I don't have a calendar. Well, you have a calendar right there.
The 11th?
Okay, so
I would say either the 4th or the 11th.
4th to the 11th, 4th would give us more time, I think, to interact. Counselor Brown,
I will be out of town on the 4th.
okay. Well, maybe the 11th is okay then? Okay, so why don't we have a work study session on this uniform traffic ordinance and penalties on the 11th at 6:30 here. And anybody who wants to send in comments to Randy, not to Ken can. And before that meeting on the 11th, the Friday before.
Well, we need to give Ken time to change, so I would suggest those changes be in by either the 4th or the 5th to give, because depending on how many changes there are, I don't know how long it'll take to do all those changes, because then we'll post the packet for that meeting on August 7th.
I would suggest that by no later than the 3rd. I'd say 5 o'clock,
Monday?
Monday, 3rd.
Okay, so
That's just my suggestion, mainly because it does give Ken a week, or I mean, it gives him 3 or 4 days to make the changes and so forth, or
so proposed changes go to Ken by the 3rd at 5 o'clock. And the meeting will be on the 11th at 6:30.
Okay.
And the changes will be posted that Friday, which would be the 7th. That work okay for people? Okay, cool.
I think we still have some motions outstanding though.
Yes, you have a motion to postpone that item to September 8th.
That's not right.
September 8th.
Yeah. You need a second on that one.
Yeah, you are
Second.
correct. Okay, so Counselor Mieta seconded.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion, well, all approved, say, anyone opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Good.
Solution.
New business, number 1, consideration, action, approval of the Farmland Preservation and Agriculture Commission's recommendation for new farmland easements. Michael, are you going to present, or Sam, or people smiling at us?
They're both smiling, so they both do it.
We have President's PowerPoint, I think, on the 4 proposal.
No, we don't have a power.
Okay, I thought somebody saw something. Well, do one of you or both of you want to say something about your recommendations for new conservation easement proposals? Aren't you glad you came?
Mayor, councilors. First off, I'd just like to say that opening the applications turned out to be a real blessing. We had 4 applications. All of these properties deserve to be preserved. 2 of them were 5-acre parcels on Corrales Road. 2 of them are a little less than 2 acres each that abut the Boyd property, which is already a preservation. This would give us close to 7 acres visible from the Bosque, yet another stop for the bird tour, right? So these were fantastic properties. You had asked when we originally started talking about opening the application process, I believe that it was Councilor Murray that said, is there more land out there? I said, yes. And I was right. And I'm just delighted. And I will tell you, there's still more out there. So after this, consider going for another bond issue as soon as we can.
Actually, I have a question to Mandy. I have a file, Corrales Farmland Preservation Property Summaries, June 2026. And yeah, I guess we have the paper here. But there is a presentation here with some diagrams, if we can.
I think that has people's contact information that we probably can't put up publicly.
Yeah, it wasn't released to the public.
I don't think it has any,
Is it
or does it has owner
Yeah.
applicant contact, so
Safety
it does have
nine.
some contact info in it, so,
No,
okay.
it does. No contact. If all of you had an opportunity to go through your packets, this time we're giving you the raw numbers that came from the evaluations from each of the 5 commissioners. And so the properties, as you can see, unlike the first time we had properties where there was an enormous spread among them, this time the highest and the lowest were only 25 points apart. So these are all really good, valuable properties. And what we suggest is just take them in order and, get as many as we can. We would like to bring up one other issue with you, if you don't mind. The stewardship fee that New Mexico Land Conservancy has asked for these properties. I believe, as you know, for the 6 acres of the Indigenous Farm Hub, which hopefully I believe Michael says is going to close in August. They're asking $55,000 stewardship fee from that. And then they're asking $40,000 for 1 acre properties. After that, well, Isabel and I have doggedly pursued New Mexico Land Conservancy over these fees because we thought they were rather high. And what we have learned is that 25 to 30% of those fees is for document preparation. And so we would like you to consider the possibility, if the lawyer, if our village lawyer approves, that could be considered something that the village itself could pay for, rather than saddling document preparation fees with the landowners themselves. So anyway, that is also in your packet that is not in your packet as a recommendation, because we had to submit your packet from us before we had the meeting with New Mexico Land Conservancy and learned about that. So that was something I did discuss it with Melanie after we had that finding. But otherwise, everything in the packet is complete, Isabella.
Yeah, and if there's any questions on it, but yeah, we did, each commission member went out and looked at each of these properties. We did the same exact evaluation as we did for the first round. And I think we did a pretty darn good job. And we really want to get as much land preserved as we possibly can. And we really want to consider this fee, the stewardship fee, and what that entails, as well as thinking about property tax fees. Last night there was the Sandoval County Commission meeting, and I don't know if any of our elected representatives were there, but that would have been helpful. But so we need to really consider those going forward, as well as the development pressure.
And council, I do have the map of the location of these properties up. I can share it here. So you can see the first one is on the west side of Corrales Road here towards the north. I do believe this was the property, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Sam or Isabella. It was just approved for subdividing. I believe they are planning on putting a couple of houses on it unless it does go into conservation. So this is actual threatened farmland at this point.
I believe the plat called for 5.
Yeah,
houses.
5 homes, yeah.
So,
yeah.
And a new road.
Yes. Property number 3, this is the one where the old chimney is standing.
Oh, yeah.
So I think everybody knows that property. You've probably driven past it. And then, as Sam had said earlier, properties number 1 and 2 are on both the east and west side of an already existing farmland easement. So that would expand that one. And even though this one is not visible from Corrales Road, it is visible from the Bosque. And I believe Al has a question. He's a member of the Farmland, or a comment, perhaps. He's a member of the Farmland Commission. He's on.
Yes, we went and looked at all of these properties, and I agree with Sam that they all turned out to be very desirable properties. And as Sam had mentioned, we are trying to get the costs not only to the owners of these properties down, but sort of spread it out a little bit over the have the village take on some of these costs. But they were all really desirable properties, and if you want to keep them out of development's hands, this is the point to do it.
So I think what the board needs from the council tonight is just a vote directing Michael to move forward with negotiations with each of these property owners following the recommendations of the board, or if you want to reconfigure those recommendations, that would be the time to do it.
Councilor Oldman?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of questions. Sam, you've mentioned in the past there's an alternative to New Mexico Land Trust.
Yeah.
And do we know what their fees might be in a comparable situation?
Yes, their fees are a straight $25,000.
That's the Rio Grande.
No, there's no range. That's $25,000 regardless of the size of the property.
No, but it's the Rio Grande.
Oh, it's the Rio Grande Agricultural Land Trust.
Okay, so it's capped at 25,000
Yes.
each. Do we know how much money we have left at this point?
I think about
After the
1.2 million, 1.1, somewhere around there, Michael. Yeah, we have to
900,000 for the indigenous hub.
We need to look at what's come out or fees so far for Michael's services, and then once we actually close in August, we'll have a better exact number.
Okay.
But we're estimating between 1.1 and 1.2 million is what's left.
So just based on, can I talk to Michael? I don't know whether we need to come to this. First of all, I want to compliment you on thoroughness and the readability of the evaluations of all of these properties. It's really terrific the way you laid it out this time. Can we pursue all four? Do you think?
No, unfortunately, yeah, the 1.2 won't cover all four. Yeah.
3?
Probably not. You're probably looking at
depending on which they are.
So if you go in order of the Farmland Commission's recommendations, you're most likely going to be able to do the first 2.
Okay.
Which are the 2 5-acre parcels right off of Corrales Road.
Councilor Murray?
Well, I mean, is Councilor Waldman done? Has he got more questions?
It's a little separate question. It has to do with water rights. You mentioned about MIGCD irrigation, but do we know what the water rights are on each of these properties?
Yeah, that should be in the summary. So
it was, yeah.
Yeah, so the furthest north property, they've claimed pre-1907 water rights. They've claimed them, but they haven't been adjudicated or anything.
But it didn't have a number.
Yes, it does have it. It does have a state engineer number, file number. I don't know if I put that in.
I must have missed that.
Okay. It says it's OSE on there.
Okay. And then the second 5-acre parcel, yeah, they just lease water from MRGCD. They have no water rights on that property.
Any other questions for Councilor Brown, then Councilor Burkett, and Councilor Murray?
Just a comment about the land trust issue. I'm also alarmed and concerned by the number that came in, and I just would encourage the commission to have a conversation, if you haven't, about the idea that I think these numbers are based on a calculation that may apply to large ranch lands and stewardship fees that are going to cover an endowment that could be called upon for lawsuits to prevent power lines and things like this. And what we're talking about here are average maybe 5-acre parcels. They're all close together. They can be monitored one day, I would think, and you're not dealing with the same sorts of threats. So I would just want to have that conversation. And the reason that that I would have that conversation is because NMLC was vetted very well when we first started working with them years ago. And so I would also just make sure, if considering another land trust, that you understand what their succession plan is, that you understand whether they have conservation easement insurance, whether they have an adequate stewardship endowment should problems arise. And that's all I would say about that. Now I have one question for Michael. So the two larger parcels have a 3/4 acre residential envelope. And so I just want to clarify, maybe for the public, that I believe, I'm going to ask you, in that case, the value of the easement is substantially lower, am I right? And that the village would not pay as much for a conservation easement that had a residential envelope in it.
That's correct. If there was no residential envelope, the easement value would be higher. Yeah, because you are reserving one development right instead of, these properties would have 5 development rights, so they're extinguishing 4.
Thank you.
Councilor Burkett.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think these are all great properties. These are all properties I know and walk by on a very regular basis. And they would all be fantastic. And I think I completely agree with the order that you guys put them in. What is the process of assessing the 1907, pre-1907 water rights, and how does that contribute to the value, if at all?
Since they've only been claimed, they're not adjudicated. So actually, I'm not a water rights attorney or anything, but I do think all of these properties are going to be appraised based upon, the water. So this property with the claim pre-1907 is going to be considered irrigated because they do have the right to use those water rights right now until the Office of State Engineer says otherwise. So what the appraiser does is he compares irrigated properties with non-irrigated properties and sees how the water rights affect the value of the land. What they don't do is value the water rights separate from the land and then add the land and the water rights together. They're not allowed to do that.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. If property doesn't have groundwater rights and we have poor surface water availability, what can the owner do with that land besides have a vacant piece of land?
Yeah, so all these, so I believe the two on Candy Lane / Toad Road have a well that services the properties, so they do have water rights through a well, and they also lease water from MRGC. So those two properties have 2 different types of water rights, or water sources, I should say.
So if they have a well, that means they have some groundwater rights.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But the other two, the 2 5-acre properties, do not have underground water. The highest scoring property just leases water from MRGC. That's the only type of water they have.
Okay. Yeah, Councilor Waldman.
Thank you, Mayor. What is our time frame for spending the money? End
of next June.
End of next June. Okay. Enough time.
Yep, it's crunch time though. It does take a while to do all this, so we need to move.
Those other properties are gonna be taken.
Well, no, just in terms of it takes a while to do all of the appraisals and paperwork and all of this, and we have to have that money spent by June 30th of 2027. So we have less than a year.
Councilor Murray.
Thank you. So yes, I'm concerned about the timeline too, because I know it's crunch time and things need to be done. So I'm a little worried though that we may not be able to maybe even get the second property. So I'm curious, are they willing to wait for a bond issue? Or are they going to go ahead and move and develop it?
So the way the ranking is right now, the second property is the one that is permitted to be subdivided and developed. And I highly doubt they're going to wait. It's rather funny.
And I guess the chances are getting both 5-acre parcels. I mean, it's real tight, and August is coming up, and I'm really worried that we're going to get caught, with our butts hanging out here somewhere because we didn't get moved fast enough, to get things done.
Yeah, I think typically when problems occur, it's with title. If title issues come up, but outside of that, I mean, the appraiser is more than capable of finishing within a couple months. All the other work, drafting, all their paperwork is pretty straightforward. It's just typically the title is, there's anything, you know, faulty with title, that can take some time to correct.
So to Counselor Brown's comment about the stewardship fees, you know, you're talking, if it's true what you reported tonight, we're talking over 100 and maybe $30,000 or $40,000 in stewardship fees that we would have to pay or might pay in lieu of them. Is that going to come out of the bond money, or?
I think you would only pay a portion of that. Yeah, so if they charge, let's just say for sake argument, charge 50,000 for each property. Of that 50,000, I think they would only ask you to pay like 15,000 of that. And the other 35,000 would be paid by the land.
So Mayor, I guess my other question is so say if we get the first two properties and they come in over what we have for the bond money, can we take monies from other account or from our LGIP to make up the difference?
I would think so.
As long as we don't dilute it below 50% at the time we made that policy several years ago, which there's plenty of money in there for that. I mean, it would take a vote, but certainly possible.
Well, I mean, it's just, I'm thinking and trying to think ahead that if we get close and we're going to spend all the bond money, but yet we still need a couple $100,000
Right.
to close the deal, could we do that?
I would think the option is open, but then we're looking for water rights too, and you know, $25,000, you know, per one pre-07 water right. You know, so I think we have to maybe get the data. And in the meantime, the water team's looking for availability of senior water rights and see how that scene works out. Because I think we need water too. I think it's nice to have, you know, conservation easements, but the village is in a water debt or daily using more water than we're allotted. You know, we need to get out of that. So I think we have to balance, but to get the data out is good.
Right.
Yes.
I'm waiting for confirmation from our chief procurement officer.
I think we've talked about it
We're
before.
95% sure we could draw on some money elsewhere if we needed to, but we would need to just double check and make sure we aren't violating a procurement policy somewhere. And then Tanya also, she sent me the number right now with the expenses that we've paid out of the farmland bond. We have $1,960,700.71 of the bond left.
Councilor Burkett.
Thank you, Mayor. So at this point, with the time constraints that we have, I'd like to make a motion that we actively move forward on property 1 and 2 in the ranking and hope we can get an answer on whether or not we can secure those. And if not, we still have time to go to 3 or 4 if we need to. But I'd make the motion we move actively on option 1 and 2.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Good. Thank you. So we will pursue 1 and 2. New business, next item. Consideration action, approval of ordinance 2605 and ordinance amending section 26-43 of the general regulations for recreation facilities to clarify where animals are allowed in the recreation center indoor facilities.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do believe our attorney has a comment.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just like I missed the approval of the agenda, I seem to have, when I looked at this earlier, I realized that there is an error in that last sentence that I know was debated about ADA qualified service animals. I learned this in a manner that I will never forget. The ADA does not consider animals in training service animals that have to be allowed to public facilities, which I opined to the governing body a couple of years ago. And the following meeting, a disability advocate came with a copy of the state statute that he provided to everybody, including myself, noting that state law does include animals in training as service animals. So I would ask for a motion changing the last sentence in subsection 6 from what is it now? ADA.
ADA compliant.
Yeah, I would ask for a motion to change that sentence to service animals qualified under the ADA or state law are excluded from this provision.
Okay.
To make sure that the village doesn't violate state law as far as animals in training go.
So just a question about that. It's my understanding that there is no certification, that basically all we can ask is this an animal, or do you have a need for this animal, or is this animal a service animal, and do you have a need that this animal helps you with? And if they answer yes to both of those, then we have
correct.
No, I mean, so do we even need that, since there's really no validation process or certification process for this that we can enforce?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Burkett, I agree. And that was, I think, my first, I spoke with Melanie about this yesterday. It all blends into one. And yeah, I would be fine deleting the sentence because state and federal law will override where necessary.
Yep.
I think that's it. That's a legitimate approach, is just to delete that last sentence entirely.
Okay, I'll make a motion or amendment that we delete that last line.
Second.
The motion has a second by Councilor Brown, right?
Yep.
Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Back on the
So now
original
you want
motion.
one as amended.
Yes.
So make a motion to approve as amended.
Hey, we already have an emotion and we have a amendment, right?
The amendment.
Yeah, we had a motion for the overall thing and then we have an amendment. So I think we're good to go, right? The vote on the original?
Yeah, because Councilor Burkett made the motion to approve it and then, yeah.
Yep.
Any more discussion on the motion with amendment? All in favor? Please say aye. Is it a resolution?
Well, ordinances and resolutions.
Okay, roll call vote. Councilor Murray, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilor Burkett?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Councilor Knight?
Yes.
Councilor Woolman?
Aye.
Councilor Mira?
Yes, sir.
The motion carries. Thank you. Okay, number 3, consideration, action, and approval of ordinance 26-06, an ordinance granting to Public Services Company of New Mexico, PNM, a New Mexico corporation for a period of 15 years, a non-exclusive franchise to furnish electricity within the village of Corrales, Sandoval County, New Mexico, and granting to PNM the right to use any public street, alley, road, or other public right-of-way within the municipal limits of the village of Corrales. May I have a motion to approve this, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Councilor Burkett and Councilor.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Section 8, Part E, compliance with village ordinances is the main reason I'm okay with this, because I think, as Mr. Radford said earlier today, we need to address this sooner than later. We need to have a policy that all future electrical lines need to be underground. Anytime an electrical line needs to get repaired on, I'd love to see a policy that has to go underground as well. I typically have the fire chief looking at me disappointed every time I vote for every one of these variances. Tonight, he's not here to come pat me on the head for saying nice things, but it's something we have to move forward to. And it is going to come at a cost, but it's going to be way less of a cost than a fire. And it's not going to all happen at one time. It's going to slowly spread out, so it'll spread out our costs, but we have to find a way to do that. And I would love to see some action on that sooner than later.
Okay. Any more discussion on this item?
Real quick. So just based on what you said, Councilor, when do you think this will go into effect? What you're talking about?
I mean,
immediately?
Well, I mean, what I'm talking about, that'll have to be a whole separate process. We'll have to come up with an ordinance as part of chapter 18.
So right now it's still gonna be.
But yeah, since this does have that saying that they will adhere to chapter 18, I think whatever we change chapter 18 to, we're protected.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we ought to maybe consider having an ordinance revision.
It is on the board.
Good Good. Counselor Murray.
Thank you. So under paragraph C on the relocation, how hard would it be to get some lights installed along Crowless Road, especially say where Priestley, the pedestrian crossings at, or nighttime, or anywhere else we have a pedestrian crossing? How hard would it be to get P&M to install a traffic light? I'm not a traffic light, but a service light so that it illuminates that crosswalk. I mean, it's all says part of the, for public safety and P&M at its expense shall protect, support, relocate, or remove along, under any street. But it seems to me though, that maybe we're not allowing them, or we're giving them benefit of the doubt and not giving them, I don't know. I just want to see some lights. I mean, maybe, where it protects the pedestrians so that they don't have to cross a dark street at night, especially over here.
Yeah. Put them on our lighted crosswalks.
I mean, basically, I stood out there one night trying to get over here to a council meeting with a flag. That's dark. Nobody can see me. We need a light.
But I mean, does that apply to the franchise agreement?
Well, I mean, it should be a request that we can make that they should be able to fulfill.
So should that be P&M's responsibility, or is
That's
it?
what I understand, because if I read that paragraph right.
Mayor, our contact with P&M is supposed to come by tomorrow morning and pick up the signed copy, so he'll sign it as well so that we both have an executed copy. I can ask him when he comes in tomorrow if that's something that P&M would be able to just do unilaterally, or if we need permission from DOT.
Get them in
Right.
blood.
And so, I mean, if he says the latter,
Yeah, I know
we
that.
can't, are we really in a position to approve this then?
Yes. Yeah. That has nothing to do with the agreement itself, but
That's what I thought. I mean,
I think if this was
it's a
an
good
appropriate
suggestion.
time to bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
May I, Mr. Mayor, Councilor Murray, the franchise agreement is essentially allowing them to use the right of way in exchange for the franchise fee. I think a street light like you're talking about, that is something that they would charge for. And I don't think it's covered under the franchise. So I think they'd have to be approached and asked. Again, it may also require DOT's approval, but I don't think P&M would be required under that general language you cited to provide a street light where we think one would be, where you think one would be a good idea. Not that it's not a good idea. I just don't think that it's P&M's responsibility under the franchise.
I think we would have to put it in village right of way, and I'm not sure how much right of way we have along Corrales Road. And if where our right of way begins and ends, and if would that pole then be too close to the road? And but it's definitely worth looking into, I think.
I think it's a big DOT and Village of Corrales issue as far as can we do it and who's going to pay for it. And
But yeah, I think we can definitely start the conversation, start asking questions about, is it something that we could do with P&M? Do we need to get DOT involved? My guess is probably yes. We need to get DOT involved, but
hey, we'll get the juice to you.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Councilor Burkett.
One more question, just something I hadn't noticed on here until right now, is they are only required to have $1 million of insurance. I mean, I have to have $3 million to step inside a hospital, and they are controlling electricity through our entire village that could, it burns down one house in Mariquita and it's pays for half the house. So
Yep.
that seems like a really low number.
We went back and forth with this for 2 years. So I don't think we can request the change at this time. It could be something that we definitely fight for again next time, but yeah, it's taken us 2 years to get to this point.
15.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a valid point, but yeah.
I'm not gonna fight that place. 15.
They have us over a barrel, sort of.
Yeah.
Only if we like electricity.
Right.
It's not insurance, it's a bond.
Yeah.
It's a bond.
That's why I wanted an early termination clause so that we can get rid of them, bring the electricity down from outer space, and then, like Councilor Burkett said,
That's right.
Yeah.
Although it does say to any one person, would that mean it would be $1 million per occurrence? So like if 3 houses burn down, it
The
would
next
be,
line's the concerning one, though, because the next one's per any one accident. So if they blew a transformer and burned down 7 houses.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
they're-
Yeah. I don't know if that would be considered
Yeah.
one accident or, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Council Burkett, Administrator, I think that would be one occurrence.
Yeah.
Under liability policy.
Any other discussion?
Well, isn't that considered an impulse buy by corporation?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's just a yacht. It's fine.
You brought it up, Mr. Mayor.
It's the toilet on a yacht. It's not even a yacht.
Are we ready to vote?
You bet.
Okay, Councilor Mira, how do you vote?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Wilman?
Aye.
Councilor Knight?
Yes.
Councilor Brown?
Yes.
Councilor Burkett?
Yes.
Councilor Murray?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Announcement of future agenda items. We're having a meeting next week. And it's for approval of end of year budget adjustment request. Approval of fourth quarter financial report, approval of financial budget, and approval of fixed assets report. We have to do this before the end of the fiscal year, so that's why we're stuck doing it now. Yes, Councilor Murray.
So can we inject a change? Maybe not a change of monies, but a change of direction of certain monies at that point? Can we make a motion to redirect some funds?
Tanya, are you still on? The budget is due on the 31st by 5 o'clock.
Right.
So
Yes, Administrator Romero, Mayor, and Counselor Murray, I am on. If we're gonna direct something, can I get a hint without a
It have to do with the Corrales Kennels closing. I think we had allocated $10,000 for the food, and I think that was supposed to go to the Corrales Kennels. Now can we redirect that to another 401k? Or not 401k, but mine.
Yes, mine would be great.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
But that's what I wanted to.
Actually,
1C3.
I think it was the Four Paws Food Bank. So is the food bank going to move somewhere else?
No, we can't move it.
Okay.
Can't move it.
So if I may, Mayor, Counselor, and Administrator Romero, so that isn't going to be in the budget as a transfer. So that 10,000 will be allocated. It doesn't mean it'll get transferred to anyone if there's not an invoice. So yes, we could actually do that at that time, and it will not change the budget at all. Or we can leave it sitting there until such time as you see some need, and then it could be transferred through FAR resolution or through a vote from council through a resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyway, we'll see you all on the 30th at 3:30. It's not convenient time for some people, and you're certainly welcome to Zoom in if you like, but the meeting will be here in the council chambers. Another future agenda item is discussion regarding LIDA ordinance updates by Jill Sweeney. On the 18th of August, she'll just tell us more about what LIDA ordinance is all about. We're not going to propose anything at that time. It's an informational type of meeting, since we haven't talked about LIDA for quite a while.
And I know economic development is a scary word, but we want to be able to use LIDA to help our farming community and our agricultural community, and we can use it for that.
Really?
Yes, we can.
They've really opened it up then.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I met with Jill back in February, and I said, I have this idea. Can we do this? And she said, I think we could make that work under LIDA, but you have to change your ordinance. So she's going to bring us some ideas on how we can change it. And
that's great.
Yeah. So that just for the public, we're not looking to bring in more businesses. This is strictly we have to have an overarching LIDA ordinance, and then anything that we would fund through LIDA would be a separate ordinance for a specific project. So that we would work with the Corrales Farmers Co-op to put together some sort of package to help the farming community.
So this would be for nonprofits as opposed to something that might violate the anti-donation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is a workaround to the anti-donation clause, because what I've been hearing for the last couple of years since the siphon broke is, what can we do to help our farmers? And what we keep running into is anti-donation clause. And this would be a pathway forward to help those farmers.
could also include like a community kitchen, I mean, those kinds of things.
I'm sure, like I said, as long as once we get the overarching ordinance put in place, we can do individual projects and we would write a scope of work and have individual LIDA projects.
Yeah.
So
terrific.
it's definitely a very broad tool that we can use going forward.
Excellent.
And the third item is a draft noise ordinance discussion. And that's date to be announced.
I'm really hoping we can bring it sometime in September, but that's fingers crossed.
And I think our code enforcement officer is being very, very diligent. He's probably made hundreds of different measurements at different places, different times, trying to get a sense of what ambient noise is. Looking at different ordinances, he's got this database, and are the recommendations going to make sense? He's going to talk to people who might like it and might not like it, and so I think even though we haven't put anything before the public right now that we can vote on or discuss, that he is, and many people are working under the radar trying to figure out how to make this happen. So yeah, maybe in September that would be a good day.
And I believe the city of Albuquerque just passed theirs, and did they not put in some of the boundaries with regards to the noise ordinance? Remember we were talking about how the decibels and so forth and so on. I don't think it was Bernalillo County. I think it was Albuquerque. Just did theirs in the last. Well, it's today's Wednesday.
Mayor Council, I know Rio Rancho.
Rio Rancho was last year, right?
And they do have the decibel levels in there and
Pretty much set up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Albuquerque was before that. And Albuquerque was one that really uses ambient levels, so what the background levels are.
Could we set this for a date certain in September? Either first or second meeting?
I would say.
Are they at the point where they can, or at least discuss it?
I mean,
maybe not make a final decision, but at least bring it forward and discuss it.
Well,
right now where we're at is we're trying to figure out the best ways to deal with our properties in the neighborhood commercial district. And trying to make it fair to the residents, because they've been the most vocal on needing this change. And the last version that we had, it was not a user-friendly ordinance. I took a look at it and I said to Dennis, what does this mean? And he told me, and I said, well, that's not what I read this as. And I consider myself a somewhat intelligent person, and that's not what I read when I read this. Yeah. And so, even our attorney said, I don't read it that way. I don't think a judge would read it that way. So we're trying to figure out a way to word the ordinance so that it's very clear to the residents what's allowed and what's not allowed, to the businesses what's allowed and not allowed, and to our judge what's allowed and not allowed, so that we aren't running into the same thing that we have now, where we pass an ordinance, it gets tested in the judicial system, and our judge says, I'm sorry, this is not an enforceable ordinance, and we're back at square one.
The only reason I'm asking is that it's now the end of July.
It's been on the list for a very long time. Yeah.
And this would give us 2 months. If we can do this, the last meeting in September.
We will shoot for that. I'm not sure we can get, guarantee, but we can kind of put a sort of a placeholder and say that would be our goal to get it there.
I think the attorneys are looking at it too and trying to figure out, is this going to make it through okay? And I think Dennis is going to talk to different stakeholders. And so I try to hurry I know, by September, the noise will be diminishing anyway, and we've sort of missed the peak time for annoyance, perhaps. But yet, to get it out earlier, I think we're losing some steps that would help to really get this.
I think we can give you a better answer at the August 18th meeting, because we're going to meet with the attorney and our kind of group going over this at the beginning of August. And so we'll have a better idea of where we're at.
While you're working on this, is the public having input?
Not yet. I mean, we've gotten their input, and we're listening to all of that.
Right.
But we're not inviting them in to give us input quite yet.
And when would that happen? Would that be
That would be at our, whatever meeting we have it up for for discussion. I'm guessing, and Mayor, please correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe we were going to bring this for discussion and public input before we put it up for like a first reading of a publish and post, because we want to get that input. So it'll have some extra steps that most ordinances don't have.
Right, good, good.
Councilor Knight?
Yeah, so when we were discussing what can be identified on private roads and what can't, would the sound ordinance affect what if it's a private road, then it can't be determined on that, right? Because
I think,
can't-
I believe the ordinance talks about property lines.
So what is approaching?
And it doesn't go by roads, it goes by property line, and that's where the noise level is measured. And property lines are, they're not roads.
But so could our enforcement person that had the little, whatever the meter is,
Sound meter,
on a
right.
private road to do that?
I think if the property owner that was complaining invited them on, that I know in the past, when I had talked to our past code enforcement officer, Sherry Rice, she had said as long as she was invited onto the property by the person making the complaint, she could look at their property, but not maybe necessarily other property. So if it's the complainant property and they invited them on, I believe that Dennis would be able to come on and make measurements from their
Because
property.
the complaint doesn't allow you on his or her property. It's like, you can't make a measurement.
Yeah, but I don't know, this might fall under a different.
So many things that can be on.
Well, yeah, Councilor Knight, Mayor, Council Administrator, yeah, the gist of my earlier contribution was strictly pertaining to traffic enforcement, so this wouldn't really apply. Yeah, these would be local ordinances enacted that could be essentially enforced within the village limits. It makes sense. I mean, because the traffic statutes are dictated by the state. That's by state statute. And then there's only those few exceptions for what we could cite for on private property. For village ordinances within the corporate village limits, we're covered as far as taking enforcement action goes. The traffic statutes don't apply. I don't know. Making sense, right?
But that's a good question for us to address with the attorneys when we discuss this next in early August. So we'll bring that up.
Councilor Murray?
I would like to, at some point, have a discussion again about the lot coverage and the floor area ratio that was in Los Ranchos has. I'd like to see us have a discussion again about how we can implement or make some changes to that. Because now I've had discussions with email discussions with Melanie, but big homes are really beginning to be a problem, even from fire suppression point of view. And so we need some mechanism to maybe not eliminate them, but maybe restrain them a little bit. So maybe the floor area ratio might be a better approach for lot coverage rather than just a blanket 30%, because like somebody pointed out, and I think it was Councilor Waldman, if you have 5 acres, 30% covers a hell of a lot of territory on 5 acres. So you could build, if you had a 5-acre parcel, you could put in about 1.5 acre house if you wanted. Who wants to do that? I mean, but somebody must. And I pointed out and sent you an email earlier today about a house up in the Northeast Heights that's going in between Louisiana, Pennsylvania, and Osuna. And that house looks like to me it's covering 50% of the lot. I mean, that's Albuquerque. That's their problem. But I think we need to have a discussion so we can revisit this.
Okay, good. And actually, going back a step, for full disclosure, there is a document sent to us by Colorado Analytics who did. There's a acoustics engineer who created a document. That's, we're certainly going to consider that document. It's not what we're going to propose, but he's got some good points, and he's been receptive to communicating with us. So that document is out there. If the public and wants to see it, well, that's a document that exists. So Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. Back in March, we discussed the possibility moving forward with whether or not artificial intelligence could help the community. And you were going to do some research and put together a committee or something. And tell me where we are on that?
So I've gotten a couple of different policies from different places. Right now we're operating at half staff in Village Hall.
Also after the budget.
After budget and fiscal year, and we get everybody healthy and back in the office. Because right now we're all covering the front and answering phones, and it's been a little crazy in our office. But yeah, once we have our staff back, then I'll get back to that. But
There are some great reports from the National League of Cities as well as the National Association of Counties. So
yeah, I mean, news reports like the one this morning I heard where one AI attacked another AI. I'm like, oh, that's not. I'm not feeling super comfortable with AI these days. But
Nobody even asked the AI to do it. They did it.
yeah, and it was in a test environment where they thought it was safe, and it just broke out somehow. So now we've got jailbreaking AI. Yeah,
We got to train ours to be aggressive, so
Yes.
we're not the attackee.
Exactly. Plus, I think I watched Terminator one too many times. So
Okay, any more suggestions? Lacking none.
Oh, you want to mention the work study again on the 11th?
Okay, yeah, the work study session, we'll put that on too, on the 11th, for the uniform traffic ordinance, and penalties.
And we'll get that added to the website tomorrow.
Okay, we've, gone through all the agenda items, so motion, well, we don't need a motion. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to sign it.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Oh,
sign
yeah,
it.
don't leave till you sign the, oh, wait, no, it doesn't have to be signed because it got postponed. It doesn't have to be signed by them because it got
This is a
postponed.
franchise thing.
No, the franchise only has to be signed by the mayor.
Oh, okay.
The one that had to be signed by everybody was the publisher post.
Right.
Yeah.
Run.
And it got postponed, so, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, well, whatever we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna have to put them up ourselves.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to put them up ourselves. How are you?
We gotta figure out.
It's crazy. Right, and you couldn't stop.
How did you do on the Montana 500?
They want it,
It's like,
and you have to put it in there. Yeah.
It's insane. It's like Godzilla and King Kong, but virtually.
But it's gonna add fun. Yeah.
That's this episode is great hell.
That was alive, Dan. Hell.
That's good as well.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's like Johnny Five alive.
How's the weather?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I've been just like, if there, anything that they've asked to be added. So, like, no, but I would just, in your minutes, just say, they asked to have lot coverage revisited at some point. We're adding work study, so I can read the right.
I said, I did tell.
No, I mean, no, they didn't, but we're going to do it, so they've scheduled it, everyone's agreed to it, so
But they make.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and what we need is just.
Yeah, that they've decided to hold a work study on this date.
Well, it's night sky, so they definitely,
For the work study on, yeah. 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 Yeah, so just anything that they've asked to have added to a future agenda at some point needs to go in the minutes as, Counselor,
Right, we do that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right, yeah, yeah.
Closer to the road.
Yeah. Well, because the thing
Very
is
brown.
that,
What did you amend?
yeah.
He's at, right now, he's at the Jamboree, I think. Yeah.
I mean, just an idea of what was changed, so just in general.
I agree.
And they all have the battery storing.
Yeah. Well, and even just,
Well, we've got them on
capturing
the
what
electronic speed
motion
limit
was,
limit
too.
sign, so, yeah.
Which saved us a ton of money.
Sure, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, then there's amendment, the other wants to amend the amendment, and like it.
Yeah.
No, no more amendment. No, you don't have to amend the amendment to the amendment, even though they're amending the amendment.
It's
then-
like Dumb and Dumber. You triple stamp a double stamp. You triple stamp a double stamp.
But we made it easy because we moved to approve the consent when we removed the item.
Right,
but
yeah,
then-
and
but
the
it-
whole point of the consent agenda is that it doesn't have discussion.
Right.
So once they make that motion, you don't discuss anything. If you want to discuss it, you have to pull it off.
So we pulled, that was motion pulled.
Yeah.
Have that.
So but he only pulled off item number 1, so then we had to go back and finish that amendment before really we.
And I didn't listen.
Yeah.
No, there were 3 parts to that.
I was
Yes.
doing that in tree.
Because there was.
Yeah, well, they tried to make another,
Agenda.
right,
Then,
and then they made a motion to pull. Yep,
and then they had to go back and vote on.
Yeah.
the resolution.
yes.
Right, even though the resolution was now the only thing left on.
It was the only thing left, so now, but, so then since they already did that, you said roll call, because you said that we already had a motion to approve it.
Yes. This was a resolution, yeah.
But sometimes like they'll do a third vote and we didn't do it. We already did that part. Really, we're done.
At all points in time.
Robert's rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quick question. I've had some people asking me if we can water the fields later or earlier in the day, so they're not spraying water while the sun's out.
Yeah, I've talked to Lynn about that, he's afraid that the ones on the front, if they have an issue, then they're gonna be leaking water.
No, that's
Yeah.
what I figured. is that
Yeah.
it's on visibility.
Yeah.
it's asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause he does water, like Lawn Trotter Park waters that early in the morning,
I agree.
and then the backfield early in the morning. And I, can he not water both the back and the front at the same time?
Added all
Should be.
sections.
Our ordinance says we shouldn't water after 11.
Yeah, I know, he's doing it between like 7 and 8 in the morning.
We know that you. I know that we have the new one.
Yeah,
But maybe they want to stay before and after, like, what was changed.
yeah.
So we have to-
But
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, no, the other day I was coming in and
Whatever was.
driving along and it just rained and the sprinklers were on and I was like, damn it, Lynn.
We also.
You can go 8 cents.
20-year.
I know, it costs, $40.
Well, but
Spray.
Well, it turns off the system. You don't have to.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a government.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the water team actually suggested that we not put water towers on that hill because of the soccer kids.
Okay.
Cause they said, what if you have a kid that goes and dumps his water bottle out right by the sensor? And then the soccer field doesn't get water because the kid is just dumping water bottle.
But I think you have one sensor you put in a strategic spot and it just shuts it off. You don't need multiple sensors. Yeah. Yeah.
No, so I've asked him to look into it, but
Yeah.
and
Should be in there.
closes up. Well, he's not doing anything.
No, but that's fine, because it's the.
Yes, yeah,
It's good. for-
yeah. He's battling the toads that are getting busy in the pool.
The thing about stay away from something about February, people want like.
That's true. That's so true.
Start to get
Yeah.
crazy.
Not a picture I needed.
No,
No.
no.
Okay,
Yep.
Mandy,
So-
I signed this.
Solar.
Oh, this is.
Yeah.
Solar.
Yeah.
And then.
I signed, this is for the min shops.
Oh.
This is different. This is not tonight.
That's,
This is for the min shops.
okay. We'll get that sent.
To realize that was the last go around was from the flood.
So this one doesn't need, this one doesn't need signatures.
The
I
combined
don't see it,
rate.
but yeah.
Right here. It's right here, man.
Oh, it's.
Well, it's more, it's useful.
Yeah, it was just text and reading.
I don't know why.
Yeah. It's back and.
Yeah.
And
that's
some stuff
the-
I went through there and took out.
Oh, yeah.
I got
They already just take whatever it gives you. And then
No, I was telling them,
Thank
I have, that client, a county client.
Then if you want to hold on to this one, we'll get it sent off tomorrow.
Question, whether they could do something.
So-
Yeah. I told them.
They wanna do it.
They basically, and they double the size of the project by change orders.
A lot.
And I really have to figure it out again.
And then it says.
So
we're-
then I said, I'll give you something in writing, so
For the
you can
amendment was-
waive it at whoever is wanting to do that, while the
He
lawyers.
just made it easy. He said
So
delete.
I
It's just a-
started to research and I couldn't find anything right on point.
Yeah.
There was this,
Easy.
that,
There's two
well, the
parts. to
client
that,
sent
but
me the
that's-
deputy
yeah.
county manager.
So then-
Sometimes they start like talking and I get.
Yeah.
He's like,
So you'll just go and delete that and you can give it to the mayors.
Said, where did it get, where did you get that? He says, well, I got it from AI. So where does it cite to? Cites to the session. Session doesn't look anything like it. They just made it up. Kinds of this, it goes all in the police.
You are? You deserve to go.
I'll be back.
In a
I was
sec.
trying to.
Oh, yeah?
verify What
Look at
he
this.
was telling me, make sure, no.
You're right, Sandy's Melanie.
Yeah.
But I had to,
Julie and Alice were back in
had to think about it. I'm glad that I mentioned it in something anyway, because I mean,
Yeah, no, I
this is
know.
actually sort of personal. This is
Yes.
and
I already did, I
because-
just do that for the, our genealogy.
Yeah, and that's just what they sent over, so, I mean, if you want to make any changes to it, I can make changes. I should sign them again.
Because, you know, paper, the Sandoval County Commission.
Yeah.
It's like, do we bring it here? And it's like, you know, it might create a stink and if it creates